episode 13 of the Nothing to Play podcast, a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and Cottonelle. As always, it's your boy, Just in Time Carter, and this week we got one of my favorite returning guests. I love him, you love him, moms love to see him naked, Tanner Toad.
Hello, everybody. I'd also like to say that I'm quite the expert on Cottonelle, so I'm glad that I'm here on this particular episode.
I was like, do you want to do the honors in telling everyone, the moms who have seen you naked?
Well, I believe there's only one, as far as I know, and it's yours.
Yes, I was like, me and Tanner were, I don't remember if it was just us or if like Troy or people were with us, but we were hot tubbing at my parents' house. And I think, Tanner, you got out to do, I think it was to change. You were changing out in the backyard.
Yeah, like you were changing inside, and I was just out back, like by the hot tub, like in the dark. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just change my shit right here. And then, like, the lights come on, and then, like, a literal deer in headlights, I'm just standing there, like, in the nude, and your mom's just staring over at me. And then just quickly, dispersed.
She caught him dick in the wind. Yeah, I was like, that's the kind of podcast we run around here.
Yes. And that's the perfect way to open it, really. I don't know how sometimes I forget the wild things that we've experienced, but then I always instantly get to have a full memory of it. If somebody just has a sentence about it, I'm like, oh, that's right. How could I possibly forget? I guess it's my elderly age, you know?
Dude, I was telling someone at work, I think it was like yesterday or the day before, something like that about, I was telling a bunch of stories from like living at the apartment with Matt and Chris, and then living at the house with Matt and Chris and stuff, and about like how like we fucking, when Chris was gone for like, I don't remember, he worked for like, because he did pizza delivery and then he did something else, but he like was working for like fucking 18 hours straight or some shit like that. And you came over and we like pinned all this shit upside down on the walls, like posters. I put sticky notes like in all his clothes and shit,
Just like
and
his
like
lanyards and just the most random crap, anything that we could hang from like a tack on the wall.
Yeah, his vitamins we like wrapped with rubber bands and then pinned the rubber bands to the wall so we could hang like bottles of stuff on the wall. And he came home and like fell face first into the bed and like slept for like 13 hours. And like it was like 2 days before he ever said anything to me about. He's like, "Why are my posters like this?" Like 2 days later, and I was like, "Oh shit, you just now realized."
Yes, I always loved doing stuff like that to Derek. Like, I'd bring home like movie posters of just like the most flamboyant stuff or like weird things, and just like hang them on the ceiling like above his bed.
Oh yeah.
So he'd come home, he'd just be staring at it in bed. But of course, he'd be too fucking lazy to take them down, so they'd just be up there for like a month.
Didn't you put poster of PETA from Hunger Games
Yeah,
on his too?
the one where he's like in a all-on white suit, just like sitting in a throne or something. Yeah,
Dapper as fuck.
yeah, it was really funny. I used to love to do that, or I'd just fill out post-it notes and put it all over everything that he owned in his room, just like bashing on whatever it was.
Yeah, dude, that's like, I was numbering the post-it notes we put in Chris's room, and then I like gave up after like 100 and something, and I just started writing random numbers. And like it was like years later, after moving out of the apartment, after the house, like Chris was living with Ellie and someone that he worked with at the fucking pizza delivery place, and he's like, he'd message me, and he's like, dude, he's like, I just found this post-it note in one of my shirts, like 3 years later.
That is incredible. Oh man, that's better than finding like a $20 bill in your pocket.
Right. Man, how have you been? It's been a minute since you've been on the podcast and I've talked to you.
I've been busy as hell, man. Like, I finished school like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna have so much time. I'm gonna start playing video games again. I'm gonna get caught up on all my shows. It's gonna be great. No, I've just been like constantly like busy, and then like at the same time I got like at my work they like got asked to like head like a project for like making videos for like a website. We won't mention where I work, but it's like a tech company. But yeah, so now like part two of my master plan has already been engaged. So now I'm like making videos for my work and stuff to like go on the platform. But it's just consuming all my time. It sucks.
That's awesome though. You're like, yeah, you're like, I make videos, and they're like, all right, we'll make us some shit, and you're like, oh fuck, you're like, all right.
Yeah, they're like, oh well, you need to make four of these, and you have to do it within the confines of like your 40-hour work week, and it has to take away from your actual work and stuff. But it's like I just started a new position, and I'm just getting buried teaching myself and like piloting like all these new things. So it's like ridiculous. So then I'm like, fuck it, I got to. So I'm just working on it outside of work anyway, just because it's like I'm trying to get my life together.
That's cool though. I was like, did you have a good Halloween?
Um, it was a pretty tame Halloween this year. I went to a couple parties, but like they were all like weeks before Halloween. And then like on Halloween night, it was just like a family thing. I went to my sister-in-law's house and took my niece and nephew trick or treating and stuff. But like when I did go to Halloween parties this year, like the wife made me do like a couple's costume with her. It was more like a group costume, and
Oh,
yeah, so like
would you
basically her
would
and
you
her.
dress up as?
So what happened was that her and her best friend and Amari decided that we were gonna go as a group from Riverdale, which I've never watched. But like when I was a kid, like I would read Archie comics and stuff, and then like my wife watches Riverdale, and like if I walk in the room, I'm like, God, this is trash, like all the time. But like I liked Archie comics when I was a kid, and I'm like, that's not Jughead, like that's not the Jughead that I know. But anyway, they're like, well, you gotta go as Jughead. I'm like, all right, cool, I can just
Oh,
buy a stupid fucking beanie and then be the end of it. But then I was like, they're like, oh, you gotta wear this jacket and you gotta have like this like biker emblem on it or whatever. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. But I'm gonna make the Jughead shirt from the comics and wear that as well. So then I had like a long sleeve like red shirt with a big blue S in the middle of it on there, like old school Jughead, and then the rest of it was like the Riverdale version. But it was just obnoxious because like I was at like two bigger sized parties with a lot of people that I didn't know, but I constantly would have people come up to me. It's like, oh, that is my favorite show. I love it so much. I'm like, I have not seen it. Like,
they're all trying to engage a
yeah,
conversation with you about it, and you're like, dude, I fucking hate this
it was
show. Like,
constantly like,
don't
yeah,
talk to me
man.
about it.
I don't watch the thing, but yeah, I know what you're. I'm glad that you like it.
You're like, thanks, bro, and then you awkwardly take a sip from your plastic cup and then like scoot out of the way.
And I'm like, did you notice the shirt though? Do you know what that's from?
Dude, that's great. I was like, yeah, I didn't dress up this year or anything. I just handed out candy. But we had it was weird because like on the way home from work, like the streets were it was like almost 6 o'clock and like the streets were dead. And I was like, man, dude, I was like, I don't even know if we're gonna get any fucking trick or treaters this year. And then like as we turned the corner near the house, we lived next to a school, and there was like a shit ton of kids on the street. So I was like, all right, because I guess they had the trunk or treat going on and
Yeah.
stuff. So I was like, oh man, I was like, I wonder if people have already like come by the house and then we just weren't home because I was like, we get home from work so late. So then I sat out on the driveway and handed out candy, and like it was like 6:30, and like only some kids were like coming by, so I was like handing out huge amounts of fucking candy because I was like, dude, I don't want all this fucking candy left over.
And then you got
And
swarms afterward.
yeah, yeah, and then like 7 o'clock hits, and then all the fucking kids from the trunk or treat start coming, and I was like, oh shit! I instantly regretted handing out like 5, 6 pieces of candy to fucking kids because then I'm like, all right, I'm like, you get like two or three, you get two or three, and then by like 8 o'clock, I was like out of candy, so like I had like 6 pieces left, and I was like praying that like a fucking huge group of kids didn't come by, and like luckily these like two little kids came by, so I just gave them each like three pieces of candy, and then fucking shut my garage real quick before anyone else could come and try and get any candy.
Yeah, the same shit happened to us. We ran out of candy at like 7:30, and then my brother-in-law had to go get more. He was like, they were like digging into their pantry and like starting handing out fruit snacks and just random crap until he got candy again. And, like they would come in droves. It'd be like 20 kids at a time, and it was like,
You're
oh my
like,
god, this is nuts.
kids are coming by. You're like, everyone gets a spoonful of corn and a cigarette.
We didn't carve any pumpkins this year either. That's kind of strange because my waifu is like big time Halloween person. Like it's like September 30th and she's got no, not even. It's like September 14th and the house is covered in Halloween decorations. But
Yeah,
just
we
with like
usually. I was like, we usually carve pumpkins too, and we haven't. I don't think the last like couple of years. I was like, but that used to be that, and like painting Easter eggs was like a pretty like big thing, and I don't think we've done either
well,
of those in the last few years.
the last several years, we would always wait until like 2 days beforehand, and you just couldn't find a fucking pumpkin anywhere. I remember like 4 years ago, I was driving around at night, like 2 days before Halloween or something. Like it was like 9 o'clock, and I'm like outside Sprouts. I'm like, I've been to like 6 different stores. I hear they have pumpkins at Sprouts. But it just never happened. But yeah, oh my god, you were always the best at making Easter eggs. You were so good at that. That was like a talent of yours. Like you make amazing Easter eggs.
Well, thank you. I was like, I know me and Megan always gets pissed off because like we do it at my parents' house, and it's like me, my dad, and her. And my dad's really fucking good and meticulous at like drawing on shit too. So Megan would get pissed off because she's like, mine look like a fucking 3-year-old did them, and then your and your dad's look all fucking intricate and shit. She just gets all mad.
Yeah, well,
Man,
you're an artist.
oh well. But yeah, I was like, but one of the highlights of handing out candy this year, I posted about it on Facebook. But one of the interesting things was one of my favorite costumes I saw was there was a little girl dressed up in a Slender Man morph suit, which I thought was awesome because I thought it was a little boy at first, and then when she came out, she was like trick or treat, and I was like, oh my god, it's a little girl. So I literally gave her like fucking 10 pieces of candy, and I was like, I love your Slender Man costume, and she was like, thank you.
My dad made me do this.
I know, I was like so dope. I was like, I liked that, and then this little Hispanic girl was dressed up as Elsa and came fucking running up the driveway and was like, trick or treat! And I was like, oh, here you go. And I gave her candy. I'm like, happy Halloween. And she's still standing there with her bucket, like looking at me, smiling. And I was kind of taken back for a minute because I'm like, wait, didn't I give her candy? And I'm like looking at her, and I'm like looking at the candy bowl, and I'm like looking at her, and I'm like what's going on? And she like leans in closer and puts even a bigger smile. I was like looking at me, and I was like laughing. And I'm like, God damn it! And I gave her like more candy, and she was like, Thank you, and then like ran off. And I was like, dude, that was a power move right there. Like I was not ready for her to flex that hard on me for candy.
Oh my god. Like I would answer the door sometimes because like we were having like a family party like after the trick or treating or whatever, but people were coming like all damn night, like up until like 9 o'clock. They were still coming to the door, and I there was this like it was like two little kids and their mom. And they came up to the door, and I was like giving them candy, and then they did the same thing. They just kept standing there, and then like she was looking into my bucket. She's like, "I want a dinosaur," because they also like had like toys and candy and stuff. So I'm like, okay. And then I gave her the dinosaur, and then I gave her brother the dinosaur, and then she just like drops it, and it like is on the ground or whatever, and she's like, ah, and she was like pointing at it, and then her mom was just like, just leave it, and then they
What the fuck?
left. Yeah, after all that.
Just after all that, and they just pick it back up and put it in the bowl. You're like, all right,
No, I just left it. I was like, some kid can pick that up.
that's even better. Dude, that reminds me of the last year because we try to sit in the driveway because the fucking doorbell drives the dogs crazy and they go fucking ape shit.
Yeah,
So
that's a
I'm
good
like, I
idea.
don't want them to ring the doorbell to like set them all off. But the last one year, like we were trying to eat dinner real quick and stuff, and we were watching like Bob's Burgers in the living room and like eating dinner, trying to eat before handing out candy, and people ring the doorbell, and I'd pause it and have to open the door and hand out candy. And like this one fucking kid, like I paused it and like opened the door, and they're like, "Oh, trick or treat," and he's like, "Oh, you guys have Hulu too?" And starts like walking in the house, and I'm like, "Whoa, chief! Like, where the fuck do you think you're going?" Like he's just gonna walk in the house, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What like subscription plan do you guys have?" I'm like, "Dude, like, shut the fuck up and take your kid." Like, stand here and talk to you about. And he came back with like his friend, like 45 minutes later, and like his friend, he's like, "Oh, he's like, I don't need any candy because I was here before, but my friend didn't come here." And I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Yeah, dude, they have Hulu too." Like, and I'm like, like, "Why are you like boasting about fucking who? Like, did you intentionally bring him here just to like Hulu shame me or something? Like, what's going on?" And we had people like this one girl like saw Oswald or whatever in the house, and she's like, "Oh, kitty," and like tried like going like between my legs to get into the house, and I'm like, "Well, like, why are you guys trying to fucking just?" I'm like, "Where the fuck are your parents? Like, why are you trying to come in my house?"
That's so weird. That's become a thing. Like my sister said that she had several kids just rush into her house because they saw her dogs. I was like, what?
Yeah,
And
I'm
then
like,
my niece, she like every single time, without question, no matter how many times I yelled at her to stop doing it, she would always go directly through people's yards to go to the front door. She would not use the driveway ever, even if they were sitting in the driveway. She would walk through the yard and then go to them.
yeah, there was a couple people this year because we had the living room window open so the dogs could see, and people would see the dogs, and they're like, "Oh, can I see your dogs or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And they're like, the mom's like, "Don't walk through the," and then they start like kicking fucking rocks everywhere through the yard. She's like, "Yard," and she's like, "I'm sorry," and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, it's whatever. Like, I was like, we have like tons of fucking stray cats that like mess up all the rocks in the fucking yard anyway, so I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there was some stray cat taking his shit in one of the front yards, and then like this kid was just fascinated by it. Like they would walk away from the house, and then he'd run away from his parents and go back to the pile of shit where the cat is at. He's like, "Look at it."
Yeah, dude, I get that all the time where I'm like doing shit in the yard and like the rocks are all moved around and I go to move it with my foot and I uncover this like fresh fucking log of shit under the rocks and I'm like, God damn it, like fucking cats. Oh man, I was like, you mentioned like what TV have you? I obviously you haven't been watching Riverdale, but what TV have you been
Yeah,
watching?
well, I guess you could say that is the one thing I have been doing. Like, the wife hasn't been keeping up with her hobbies of late. You know, she's not reading any books or playing any Switch or anything. So, like, basically, when we do have some free time, just pretty much watching shows. I've been watching both of the new HBO series, Watchmen, of course, and
Dude, I've heard that's really good, but I haven't watched it yet.
yeah,
I'm like waiting for
Watchmen.
it to just be done, and then I figured I'd just like download it all.
Yeah, yeah, we could start with that. Yeah, it's pretty damn good. Like, it's strange. Like, if I didn't if it wasn't called Watchmen and there wasn't like little tiny references here and there to Watchmen, then I wouldn't have known that it was supposed to be related to Watchmen like at all. Like visually speaking, like it takes place in Oklahoma, so you're not seeing like New York or any Mars or any crazy environments like you see in Watchmen. But it's very well shot. It's gorgeous. And the more it goes through, like there's only been 3 episodes so far, but like where it's at now, in the third episode, it's starting to like super connect to Watchmen to the point where I'm like, oh, okay, now I get it. Because like before, it was just like completely its own thing, but it's starting to like really come together with the comic.
That's cool though. I was like, from I haven't watched like any full trailers. I've just seen clips and stuff here and there, but it looks like it kind of has like the darker tones and kind of setting and stuff of Watchmen.
Yeah, absolutely. It's from Damon Lindelof, the same guy who made Lost and The Leftovers. So yeah, it's definitely
Okay, okay,
it's
yeah.
it's definitely got its weirdness and its confusing factors. Definitely a lot more questions than answers most of the time.
Yeah, he's kind of known for that.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see where it goes, but I'm into it right now for sure. And then this week, his Dark Materials also started. Um, that's the Philip Pullman trilogy. Started with The Golden Compass, which was adapted into a movie like 12 years ago that was apparently really bad. I never saw it. um, I read the first book, and the new series is like it's a cross production between HBO and BBC. So it's like a big worldwide event. Stars James McAvoy, Lin Manuel Miranda, and I can't remember her name right now, but the girl from Logan, the little girl, she's the star of the show.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's pretty damn good so far. They only have one episode, but it's pretty faithful to the book, and it's dark and really well shot and lots of special effects. So they're like really trying to fill in the hole that Game of Thrones left for them over at HBO by just making these like super expensive series. But I'm liking them so far.
That's cool though. I was like, that's kind of promising that like the BBC is involved because if anyone knows how to like, all right, we're making it's gonna be 6 episodes and it's done. Like not just shovel out shit for the sake of views and stuff like that. It's like we're
Exactly.
here to tell a story. We'll tell the story. When it's done, it's done. I don't give a shit if you want more.
Yeah, and I believe this has like guaranteed 3 seasons, like one season per book.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't think they're going to be particularly long seasons. I think they're just going to be like a series of mini series. Um, I am. I feel terrible to admit this, but I've been trying to. I went back and I tried to get through season 4 of Better Call Saul because I never watched it when it originally came out. Um, so I've been watching that, and I got like 2 episodes left, and it's so fucking good. Of course, like no surprise there. But yeah, I'm as big of a fan of that franchise as I am. Like, yeah, I just missed it when it came on because I don't have AMC and I don't like pirate shit anymore, and it just never came on streaming services or anything. So then like I purchased it, like I purchased it like a month ago or so, and I started watching it a little bit at a time whenever I'd have like a small window of opportunity. Um, but the wife's been working a lot this week, so then I've been trying to watch like an episode as often as I can. I watched like half an episode before we started recording today, and I'll finish it after we're done. Um, but and then the funny thing was after I bought it like 2 weeks ago, like I have a friend um, in New York. He works at Zero Point Zero Productions. It's like Anthony Bourdain's production company. He like helps film documentaries and stuff for like Netflix and things. And Skylar went and visited him a few weeks ago, and then he went to the studio, and then he took back. They had like the screener like that they send to like for awards consideration, and it was in like a fake cell phone box, and it was like Better Call Saul for your consideration, or whatever. And he gave it to him, and then he gave it to me. So I was like, damn it, now I have it, and I just bought it. So like I've got like 2 of it, so I've just been watching it. But it's so fucking good and great timing. Did you ever watch the Breaking Bad movie El Camino?
No, I feel fucking horrible for you.
Bro,
I
what?
know I really want to. I just haven't. I'm insanely behind. Like need to watch that. I really want to watch it.
That
And
should be at
then
the top of your to-do list.
well,
Fuck.
it is that and like the new season of BoJack Horseman came out not that long ago on Netflix too, and I fucking love BoJack Horseman, and it's like part 1 of the final season or whatever. So I'm like, fuck, I really want to watch that too, and I've just been behind on
You're
that
talking
shit.
like 2 hours of your time here.
I know. Like I've heard it's good and like nobody has ruined anything about it for me either, which is nice.
I feel like the
Like
internet in general has gotten really good about not spoiling shit anymore because there was like a time period for like 2 years there where it's like I had to go to the premiere of everything or I had to watch everything the second it came out because otherwise, if I opened up my phone, the internet would tell me everything about it, like on any platform. But now I feel like I don't get shit spoiled for me anymore. It's been pretty good this year.
Yeah, and it's crazy too, because like I haven't even outside of like the week that it like released, I haven't seen anyone really post on it anymore either. Like it was like everyone just like cumulatively watched it like when it premiered, and then like talked about it amongst themselves, and then now they're like, all right, like it was good. It was like I heard it was like basically like another. It was like a really long another episode of like Breaking Bad,
Yeah,
which that's
that's
cool.
accurate. Yeah. Um, yeah, it just ties up everything for the series. It's just like another. It's like the the best episode, or Ozymandias. It was like the very end, the one where if all the shit hits the fan, and then there was 2 episodes left of this series, and I kind of considered that like an epilogue. Like that was the epilogue, and this is kind of like a third epilogue. But it's got like everything you could possibly want from a Breaking Bad movie. So yeah, definitely go check it out like ASAP.
I know I need to. I feel bad. Like the only shit I've really been watching. I mean, I've been trying to. I have my animes and stuff that I've been behind on that I've been trying to catch up on. And then besides that, like show wise, the only shit I've really been watching is like Ink Master and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Nice. I mean, have we been? The wife makes me watch American Horror Story, and I just hate that shit so much. Like,
Like all of it. You haven't? Have you watched all of the seasons or just like the newer
no, there
stuff?
was a few seasons that cause like I started watching it with her probably like 3 years ago. I'd always make her go to her mom's house or something because I just had zero interest in it. And it's like they've all just been really shitty ever since I started watching the show. Like I got in, like not into it because I don't like it, and then like I went back and I watched the first season and the third season because they both were connecting to like one of the more recent seasons.
Hmm.
And so I watched those ones, and those ones are probably the best ones. But I hear like Asylum's probably the best, but I'm just sick to death of like Asylum type movies and shows and shit. And so like I'm good. So I haven't seen Asylum. I haven't seen like the Circus one. I haven't seen the Hotel one.
Oh man, I can see that. Like, yeah, I was like, I've only seen up until was this. I think the circus one was the last one I watched because then I think after the circus is the one you were talking about, where I think that's the one that like started to try to connect. Well, no, wait, the one because there's one after I think circus was the one where it's like a documentary.
Yeah, it was like Roanoke, and that was like the first one
Yeah,
that I watched, like with
yeah,
her,
that's where I stopped
and I
because
was
I
like,
never
wow,
watched that.
this is trash. Like this is so
Yeah,
bad, and
yeah.
they've gotten progressively even worse since then. So
Yeah, I heard it was bad, so I never watched it. And then I hadn't watched any. The only one kind
Look,
of cool because the ones that they're talking about that connect were like actual good seasons. So I was like,
yeah, I know,
but
and
I
then
never
and that
watched
one
it.
was one of the worst ones ever. It was like,
Oh man,
yeah, yeah, it was really bad.
that's brutal.
But
But yeah, I love.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I really liked Murder House because like I started watching it when it was first airing, and I really liked Murder House, and I really. Damn it, Oswald. I was like, Oswald fucking moved my mouse and like fucked the camera up. There we go.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
cats are ruining my shit over here too.
But I really liked Murder House, and then I think it was Asylum season two.
I believe so. Yeah.
It was like Asylum was like pretty good. The Witch one was pretty good because like Murder House and The Circus I think were my two favorites, and then like third I'd say was like The Hotel for me.
Nice. I'll never go back and watch them because I like really just want to be done with this show. But, and then what else? I always watch The Good Place. Sad to see that show go, but I'm glad that they're going out on their own terms. So I don't know if you
Yeah,
ever watched The Good Place.
I watched season one and I really liked it, and it's like I need to finish catching up because I think they have up to like season two or three on Netflix, and then like season four I think's on Hulu or something.
Yeah, season 4 is like currently airing, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be the last season intentionally, just because that show blazes through like a season's worth of plot in like an episode. like all the time,
Yeah,
intentionally. I love
I
it.
was I liked season one a lot, and it was funny because like when we were watching season one, I was like, it was like I think 2 or 3 episodes in, I called the twist at the end of season one. Like I was like, dude, I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if it was this? And then like at the end when they revealed like what the good place was, I was like, I fucking knew it. I was like, I knew that some fucking crazy shit like that was gonna happen.
Yeah, well, it that show gets crazier and crazier as it goes on. Like it's very unpredictable, that's for sure. I mean, well, obviously you predicted that, but
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like weird that it wasn't even like a straight prediction. I was just like, man, it would be crazy if this is what the good place was. And then when it turned out that that's what happened, I was like, all right, I like the turn that this is taking.
yeah,
Like,
it's brilliant. It's so smart. And then we also watched Castle Rock, which I didn't think I watched all of the first season when it aired, and I was pretty disappointed in it. This season has been pretty stellar, surprisingly.
because yeah, Megan watched. I think she watched like the first like I think like 5 episodes or some 5 or 6 episodes of Castle Rock of season one, and that's kind of like what she had said that it like seemed really interesting and stuff, but I don't think she ever finished it because
It
it
would just
wasn't
end
like
up going nowhere. But like
yeah.
this season is actually like intense every episode and like has a good plot. Like I don't know, it's always like kind of bullshitty because like their whole spiel is it's just like all the different. God damn it, cat's freaking out. But it's like all Stephen King books, you know, and they're just taking characters and plots and stuff from them and whatever. But then like they really don't. Like it's never like an accurate portrayal or like the main thing this season is like Salem's Lot and Misery because like it stars like Annie Wilkes from Misery, but like it's not like the plot of Misery like at all, and the plot of Misery like didn't happen either. So it's like literally they're just using her name and like her like just I don't know. I guess just the way she acts and stuff, and it like takes place in Salem's Lot, and there's like some crazy mystical shit going on or whatever. But like I don't. It doesn't seem to be anything about vampires. Like I don't know.
It's disappointing because I was like, I love Salem's Lot, so I'm like, when you said Salem's Lot, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then you're like, oh, it's not about vampires or anything. I'm like, oh,
Well,
like,
I'm not sure. Like, I feel like it's going. It might go that way, but they're just doing it in their own kind of way.
hmm, that's weird.
And is there anything else that I'm like watching live? And then I just have other shit that like I'm just most of the way through that I never finished. Like I have like, and I blame my wife mostly for the majority of this stuff. But like, like I have one episode left of the first season of Ozark, and I have had one episode left for like almost 2 months now. It's like an hour and 20 minutes or something, and then she never wants to fucking watch it. So it's like, am I just gonna finish this by myself? Which is perfectly fine. I just need the go ahead to,
You just have to like secretly do it and then like
and
rewind
then
the
just
episode
pretend
all
like
the
I
way back.
haven't seen it. You know.
Yeah,
But then I might want to start season two, and it's like, fuck.
you got fit in season one.
And then I'm like, yeah, and I'm like super behind. Like I watch it, but like I'm very behind on like Titans on DC Universe, which I know gets dunked on here and there, but it's legitimately not a bad show. It's pretty
I know.
good.
I was like, you're the only person I know that's like had anything good to say about
Well, I think it's entertaining.
it.
It's better than the CW shows, I'll tell you that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's fucking Riverdale at this point is probably better than the CW show. Like, and it fucking upsets me to no goddamn end because like I know my friend Brandon, who's been on the podcast before and stuff, he fucking watches Flash and shit. Like I think me and Matt got him into it like years and years ago when like season one was like airing and shit. And fucking he's like talking about like how like oh dude but the episodes with reverse flash in it are like so good and I'm like that's why I would watch it. I'm like but I only want to watch those episodes. I'm like I don't
Yeah.
want to watch any fucking thing else. Like, I've seen fucking because I like the Flash fucking Facebook page. I get fucking like clips and shit for it all the
Yeah.
time, and I'll like watch them to kind of see what's going on, and I'm like, I fucking hate this, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't want to
Like
watch
how
it.
many fucking speedsters are in that show now?
Like, yeah, every like major villain is like a fucking speedster, but it's like a speedster that's not. I'm like, just make Reverse Flash the fucking main villain. Then I'm like, I don't understand. I'm like, quit like making it like weird versions of Barry or like some other fucking like person. I'm like, just make it Reverse Flash and call it a day.
Yeah, and
Like, I don't.
Arrow's just now ending this year apparently.
Thank God. I'm like, that hasn't been good since like season like what
Two.
three, two? Okay, was two the one with Slade?
Yeah.
All right, two. I was gonna say three, and thank God I didn't because I almost gave it more credit where credit wasn't due.
Arrow had a fire season 2 and then just crashed. The next season was their like Ra's al Ghul season, which they just fucking faulted on real bad.
Okay, I did watch that. Okay, I think I
I
watched
watched that
through.
one and then I gave up on the next season after that, which was like when Oliver gets like these like voodoo powers from like totems.
Okay, wait, never mind. I watched through season four. Then
Yeah.
that was. I don't think I finished season
I
four. I
didn't
think.
either. This is so funny. I had literally like one episode left of that season, and I was like, "Nah, I'm done. Like, I don't care."
Yeah, I think we stopped at the same point then because yeah, like the one dude like went to jail and then like they
Like
busted him
his sister
out.
was living in like an underground city or like a house community, but it's like underground, but it looks like a rural like area. Like it's very weird.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it kind of went really south, really quick, and I'm just like, and I honest to God blame the fact that like I don't know. It seems to me like they felt like because the Flash had like mutants and shit in it that like they didn't want to give Arrow any mutants. And I'm like, cool, well then give him street level villains.
Yeah,
But then it's like they weren't doing that either because like most of the street level villains and shit I guess that they would use were like fucking in the Suicide Squad movies and shit, so they didn't want to like use Captain Boomerang anymore. They didn't want to use like fucking Harley. They didn't want to use any of them, and I'm like, okay, well, give him something. Like I'm like, I don't. Why are you doing this?
for real. Yeah, I remember after season 2 at Phoenix Comic Con, like Stephen Amell was at Phoenix Comic Con, formerly named Phoenix Comic Con. Sorry. Now it's called like Phoenix
FanFest.
Fan Fest, Fan Fusion, whatever. I don't know, man. It's always changing. But I was in the Q&A panel and I got on the mic and I asked him in front of like thousands of people. I was like, I really hate it when shows like go on too long and like dilute the quality of the show. So I was curious, like, what's the plan for this series? How long do you intend on going? And he was like, well, Ollie spent 5 years on the island. So the concept would be that we're going to have 5 seasons, and every season would have like flashback to one of the years he was on the island. And I was like, all right, cool. 5 is the perfect amount of seasons for any show. Here we are on like season 8. That fucker lied to me.
Well, I don't think he actually lied to you because, granted, out of the like 8 seasons, like the flashbacks for like half the seasons, he wasn't even on the fucking island. He was like in China and shit. So I'm like, if he did spend 5 years on the island, I'm like, then he spent like fucking two in China, and then he spent like one, like he was in America again, and I'm like,
Well, it was always funny too because he's like 40 or something or close to it, and he's just wearing a terrible wig, and he puts on this ridiculous like accent to try and make himself like sound like a younger guy, but it's like what you would do if you were in like a sketch comedy and trying to sound like a kid. Like it's just like borderline parody. So it was just always ridiculous to me. Those
really,
scenes.
could we not find someone younger to play him like on the island when he wasn't like
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
40?
It's ridiculous. But
And then like the end of the series is going to be Oliver returning to the island, and then you find out that he actually died on the island, and then it's gonna fade to black, and then the Lost logo is gonna like
Created by
come
David
up.
Lindelof.
Yeah. God damn it.
God damn it. Yeah, exactly. But also, since I got the new iPhone, I randomly.
Of course you did.
Hey, no, not of course I did. I had an iPhone 6, bro. I've had it for like 5 plus years. I went from a 5 to an 11 Pro Max. So I did my time, okay? I made that phone last forever. I just desperately needed to. I was like a 16 gigabyte phone, so I only had like 11 gigs to my disposal. It was terrible, and I'd have to charge it 5 times a day because the battery was so shot because it was so old. Like, so I got the new iPhone, and then on Friday last week, I got a notification on my phone, and it's like you get a whole year of Apple Plus for free. So now I've got that streaming service, but I have zero interest in any of the shows that are on it.
I was like, I didn't even know Apple had its own streaming service,
They
so
do
that tells
now.
you
They launched
how
like a week
notable
ago.
anything is on there.
Yeah, like their biggest show is like it's called like the morning show, I think, or something. It's about like a morning show newscast thing, and it's like Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell, and then like some scandal happens, and then Reese
Okay,
Witherspoon's on it. Yeah, that's like
I
their
have
biggest
heard.
show. But
I have heard of
hilariously,
that.
it had the lowest ratings of all of their new shows. Like it was like it had the smallest audience, but it's like the most expensive and the most like touted one that they have. So not doing so hot on the Apple streaming service so far. But why would you launch a streaming service and literally only have 4 pieces of content ready for it? There's 4 shows. That's it. They have 4 shows. Everything else is like typical like Apple, you can buy these movies or rent these shows or whatever, or rent or buy shit. But the only like content that they made that comes with the streaming service are those 4 shows.
Dude, well, that's fine because it'll be like by this time next year, it'll just be like bundled in with like HBO Max or some shit.
For real. Yeah, we got Disney Plus coming out in like 3 days.
I was gonna bring that up too because I was like, I bet you're like fucking rock hard like at the fact that like Disney Plus is gonna
You
launch
goddamn
here.
right, bro. There's so much content I'm looking forward to on there. I never have to buy a Disney movie again. That's cool. I'm looking forward to The Mandalorian, of course. I'm actually mostly looking forward to the documentaries that they're going to have available on there. They look pretty interesting. They have like one that has like going to cover like one aspect in the company, like if you're like working on animatronics at Disneyland, or if you're like an Imagineer or animator, or just like a person on like a small level that are like have this like docu series where they're gonna have like an episode for like every day of the year and stuff. It looks pretty cool.
That's cool. And then there's that one with was it Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, yeah, that should be intriguing, but I feel like it's gonna be, I don't know, too like rigged and cheesy. Like, I mean, I know that all reality shows are like fake, but like I feel like that one's gonna be a little forced just because it's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I was like, there was one that me and Megan watched on Netflix, which was I can't remember what the fuck it was called. It was like Finding God or like something like that. But it had Morgan Freeman
Oh,
in it,
okay.
and he narrated it. But it's also he like narrates it, but it's also him going to like different countries and stuff, and like asking people about basically like their different religions and like the gods that they believe in, and like different aspects around their religions and stuff, which was kind of cool. But like it's not like it's just him like sitting there like talking to them, like and like him like narrating it, and I'm like, if it was anyone but Morgan Freeman, I probably wouldn't watch this. Like, but I enjoy his voice, so
For real. I haven't seen a whole lot of movies lately. I haven't been able to get to the theater much recently. Saw The Lighthouse last weekend, that movie we previously talked about.
I fucking knew you did. How was it?
It was as I expected. It was really fucking weird and trippy and entertaining and slow, but like overall, I think it was a decent watch. I feel like most people will absolutely despise it when you go see it. It's
Did
just
you
like,
enjoy it though?
huh?
Did you enjoy it?
I liked it, yeah, but like
Would you
it's
watch it again?
no, I wouldn't watch it again. It's like
A one and done.
it's a one and doneer. It's like I liken it to like Mother, if you ever saw that.
Well,
But
it's made by the dude who made The Witch,
yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah. So it's got like a lot of artistic value, but it's a lot of like, what the fuck just happened? Like what was I just watching? But like, my wife's like really well versed in like literature and like mythology and stuff. So she was like, it was. Did you ever see the movie Mother, the Darren Aronofsky movie with Jennifer Lawrence?
I have it like downloaded to watch, but I never watched it.
So it's both of those movies are like allegories for like other things. Like
Yeah, where there's like a lot of symbolism and
yeah,
like different
it's like
things.
one
Where
of those movies where it's like it's telling like an old tale, but like in a way that you don't realize it until when you're done with it what it is. But you also have to be aware of the story to understand it, which it's not a story that I'm at all familiar with. So like then I was like, just like, what did I just watch? And then she had to explain it to me afterwards. I'm like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. Like now that I know that.
'cause, yeah, that's what I heard was like kind of like a lot of people went in expecting kind of like two like sailory dudes living together, kind of like going mad, and then like walked out like that was not at all what I expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean it's that too, but like it's a lot of weirdness, but with like a little to no explanation, and like just some real bonkers shit and real gross stuff too. Lots of gross out stuff.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I won't say anything else.
Yeah, I was like, I do want to watch it. I just haven't
Yeah,
seen
I would
it.
say don't wait for it to eventually be available on Amazon Prime. Like, I swear every Robert Pattinson movie ends up on Amazon Prime, which is cool. I watched another one of his movies last night called High Life on Amazon Prime, and that shit was cray cray too.
Dude, and then I'm assuming you also saw the Joker.
Oh yeah, I saw that night it came out. Of course, yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
was everything you hoped and dreamed it would be.
It was pretty damn good. Like, I mean, it has like mixed reactions from a lot of people. Um, Mostly like critics. Like, I mean, it still got good reviews, but like a lot of people just felt like it was trash. But like, I think that there is a lot of artistic value. Obviously, like Joaquin deserves like an Oscar. Like, it's absurd that he doesn't have one already from all the times that he's put in like an ungodly good performance. But like, this is like undeniable, and it's gonna be crazy because then it's gonna, if it does happen like it should, unless something real crazy comes out in the next couple months. Like, I just don't foresee anybody putting in a more like fantastical performance than that. Really, what did you think of Joker?
I thought it was really good. I'm genuinely surprised that it like killed the box office as much as it did.
That's right. Yeah, I'm not surprised because it's like something that I've been pitching for like years. It's like, why do studios insist on having to spend like $300 million on these comic book movies when you know that they're going to see them regardless? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like rated R or whatever, or have to be like high art or something, but like make movies cheaper, you will make a lot more money because you're guaranteed to have an audience. So, as of yesterday, Joker is now the most profitable comic book movie of all time because it only cost $60 million to make and it's made $1 billion.
Damn, dude. I was gonna ask you what the budget was for it because I knew that it like was super. I just didn't know. I hadn't read up what the movie was actually made for.
Yeah, 60 mil. It was originally 40, but then like as they were filming, like they wanted to add more things and the studio had notes and stuff and they wanted to get a little more in it. So then like it got a little more expensive. But yeah, ultimately $60 million to make that movie and it's made $1 billion. It's crazy. And it's rated R.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's surprising most to me because it's a DC movie, like, and it's actually good. Like, it doesn't involve Wonder Woman, and it's actually a good DC movie.
I feel like DC's been on fire lately, to be honest. I mean, I know I'm a huge DC lover, but like, I thought that Aquaman was a lot of fun. and and same thing with Shazam. Like
I,
Shazam
I
was
will
Shazam was legitimately good.
I will admit I did like Shazam. Like Shazam and Wonder Woman were my two favorites that I see, and now Joker I would add up to all being really good. I did not like Aquaman though.
That's understandable. I get it. Like I don't know.
like I mean it. I felt like it had promise. It was just like weird in parts. Like I was just like I didn't understand why they did certain things the way they did and stuff in that
I
movie.
like Wonder Woman, but I feel like I don't understand the hype really. Like I think it's like a really good first 40 minutes, and then it just like divulges into like everything that we've already seen before. So like it wasn't particularly special to me. I liked Wonder Woman quite a bit, but like I liked Aquaman just because it was like, God damn it, is that mine or yours?
That's not mine.
Shut up!
I was like, my
Goddamn
cat's
cat.
passed the fuck out on the
Hour
clock.
into this podcast, they've been making my life hell over here the whole time. Hopefully, that's not too audible. It is a directional mic, so hopefully, it's not picking that up too hard. Shut up! But I liked Aquaman because it was weird and different, and that's why I was into it.
My thing was like, to me, like while watching it, to me it seemed like they like literally blew like 80% of the budget on the shots of Atlantis, and then they were like, "All right, we got like 20% of the budget left for like all the effects for everything else. Let's make it work." Like,
Well, shit, man. I
like,
bet the most expensive thing was the hair, because like everybody's hair was CG in that movie to give it the underwater effect.
well, yeah, and that's what I'm like. I think like all the underwater scenes, like that's where like all the budget went to, and then like the shots where they were like on land and shit, and like just like getting like thrown back on wires and shit, like in the stone and like it like crumbling and stuff. I was like, dude, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
Um, it
but
sounds
I didn't hate it. I didn't. I will say that I did not hate Aquaman. Like genuinely, after me and Megan watched it the one time, like a week later, Megan did want to watch it again for the sole sake of like we were making fun of it like the entire time. So we
that's fair.
genuinely enjoyed making fun of it like the entire time, and like wanted to like watch it again.
Well, that's my favorite thing to do. So, like, if you can get the enjoyment out of thinking that it's garbage, then that's all the power to you. Which will, whenever I can get around to getting started on launching my next podcast, it'll be, I'm sure we'll have a couple of movies like that in there. But, what else? I saw Zombieland Double Tap. It was
Oh
fine.
God,
It was not good, but
it
it
was.
was a okay one time watch. I
Well, it like kind of sets that precedence of when your like sequel comes, like when your sequel comes out like 12 years after the initial movie. I'm like,
yeah,
you know,
it was like just a throwaway. It's like, oh, it's a Friday night. I need to kill some. We need to do something. Let's go see the new Zombieland movie. But like, I don't know. I thought it looked so bad that my expectations were like really low. So then ultimately, sorry, I had to hit my fucking cat. He finally got in front of me so I could hit him with a pillow. He's chasing my girl. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was better than I expected, but that's still not saying much. But I got a lot of shit that I need to see like ASAP. I know that you're gonna see Doctor Sleep right after recording this podcast. I'll probably see it this weekend as well. Um, there's a couple others I still want to see. Jojo Rabbit just expanded to nationally, so I can watch that now. That looks really good. And Parasite, the it's a Korean film from Bong Joon Ho, the guy who made The Host and Okja. and Snowpiercer. The guy who made those movies, he's got a new one called Parasite, and it looks really fucking good. I've been hyped to see that. Just waiting for it to come out of the expensive theater, so like I don't have to pay $30 to see a Korean indie film. Like,
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about Parasite, and I heard JoJo's Rabbit was like pretty interesting too.
yeah, that's from Taika Waititi, and he's obviously made a lot of good shit. What We Do in the Shadows was so good, and then The Hunt for the Wilder People, and then Thor Ragnarok. So he's been making hits. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I kind of want to see Terminator Salvation. Is that it?
That
That's
was
it.
the one with Christian Bale from like 10 years ago.
Oh,
the new
what's the
one,
new?
the new one's Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, there we go. I'm like,
Yeah,
what was
see
he
it while you
Dark?
can. It bombed majorly at the box office.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I That's one where it's like because I have like the AMC thing. Like it's
Oh,
like
right,
I
right,
could see
right.
it.
Yeah. Well, I'd be
Yeah, I
down to see it with you because nobody else I know wants to see it.
yeah, dude. I was like, we can like
So I
pick.
love fucking Terminator and Terminator 2, and then everything else has been trash. But like, I'll see it just to see it one
Yeah,
last time.
I was like, whatever your schedule is, because we'll probably have to see it. Like, if we're gonna see it, it's gonna probably have to be next week, because it's like shit's
Yeah,
only in theater for like 2 weeks and then it's gone.
yeah, we can work that out. But yeah, definitely down to get on that. We'll book it with the A list and see that while we still can. Probably for the last time you can see a Terminator movie in theaters for quite. I don't know why they keep making these fucking things. They're always financially disappointing. And then like 2 years later, they're like, we're rebooting again because they just had like Terminator Genesis with uh, Daenerys from Game of Thrones, Amelia Clark, like playing Sarah Connor like 2 fucking years ago, and Arnold was in it, and nobody saw that fucking movie. They're like, you know what? Let's try it again. And then once again, it didn't make shit for money. And it's like, well, obviously, what you need to find here is that people are not interested in the Terminator anymore. I guess it's like, who's the creator of Deadpool? It's Rob. Is it Layfield or something like that?
Probably.
I probably just bombed his name really bad. I don't. It's not that. It's something very similar to that. But he was tweeting about it because he was asking his sons like uh, if they were going to see Terminator, and they're like nobody our age has seen Terminator. Nobody cares about Terminator. They don't have that nostalgia. So like Terminator's not like one of those movies like Star Wars or Indiana Jones or stuff like that where you pass down to your kids or whatever for I guess most people. So I guess it's just like Terminator's just not a franchise that's been like passed down. So
Well, yeah. Literally, the last one I saw was the third one. That was
the
the
last
last
one
one
I
I
saw was Salvation with Christian Bale in like 2009, and it was very forgettable.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I haven't even seen. I can't even tell you the last time I even rewatched any of the Terminator movies. Even like it's been so long since I've seen two, three, or even like one.
I haven't played any games lately, but the only thing I've been playing is Mario Kart Tour on my phone.
Oh God, why would you fucking do that to yourself?
What do you mean, just as far as like the addictiveness of it?
I don't know. Well, just I don't know everything I've heard about it just is kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. I guess just like the fact that there's like microtransactions, which of course there is because it's Nintendo, but like for like the two to get access to like the 200cc and shit, you have to become like a whatever pro, like pay like 4.99 or something like a
Yeah,
month
but
or
who the
some
fuck
shit.
uses 200cc? Fuck that. I don't want to do 200. Like 150 was where it's at, bro. Surprisingly, like I've had a lot of people bitch about that who haven't played the game, but you'd be surprised that you can play the whole fucking game without putting a dime into it. Like I haven't paid anything. I play it every day just because I don't have the opportunity to play real games because my TV's always taken or I'm always busy or I gotta go places. But I could just pick up my phone and play Mario Kart for like a couple minutes here and there, like throughout the day.
I mean, you
It's
can
fun.
also like take the Switch with you somewhere.
I I'm not hauling my Switch around like everywhere I go though.
Well,
But
true.
luckily, we're less than a week away from Pokemon, and then that will be taking all of my time that I have.
Dude,
No questions asked.
I feel so fucking bad for the Pokemon Company and Game Freak with all the shit that's been going on.
What do you mean?
Oh, dude, like, did you see like, cause like, what was it? It was like, or it was earlier this week, maybe late last week, where someone leaked like the final evolutions of all the starters.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, they like leaked like the different middle and like they leaked like well they leaked that and then they leaked like the entire Pokedex and stuff for like all the Pokemon that are actually in the game. And like since then people have just been like bitching up a storm online.
Like
Like
how they look, or
well, one so people were bitching about the final evolutions of the starters. Like people like Grokeys. Like they're like, yeah, Grokeys is cool, whatever. The Score Bunny or whatever, like fucking people were bashing Score Bunny's like final evolution. Like, what the fuck did you guys do? Like, why? And then for Sobble or whatever, his final evolution, he's like turns into this like lanky lizard looking thing that's like super skinny, like ridiculously skinny, like this like skinny.
oh my
I'm holding
god,
up my pinky for reference. He's like a big head and then like a stick body, and like people were fuck about that. But even beyond that, the main thing people were bitching about was the Pokedex because people were complaining since the beginning because they said that not every single
right?
Pokemon was going to be in the game, but they didn't say what all Pokemon were going to be in the game. Just that not everyone was going to make it in. So yeah, someone posted a picture of like the entire Pokedex of every single Pokemon, and then like highlighted in green like which Pokemon from everywhere are going to be in the game out of like the 400 that are in the game. And like people were bitching that like Charmander and like Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard and stuff, they're in the new game, but Squirtle and Bulbasaur aren't. So they were like, fucking everyone's favorite fucking Charizard is in it. He's in every goddamn game, but they didn't have the fucking decency to put Squirtle or Bulbasaur in the game.
That
And
is pretty
like
savage.
none of the other like I think there's some of the other starters from different games are in it, but like I think none of the second generation like Totodile, Cyndaquil, like none of them are in it. I think,
Wow,
and like so people were just like bitching that like a lot of like their favorites or like ones that they were like, oh, this is for sure gonna be in there, like didn't make the cut.
that's a bummer,
But
but
like
it's understandable.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you still have 400 fucking Pokemon to choose
Do
from.
you expect
Like,
them to like animate and do all this shit for like every Pokemon that's ever existed? Like, that's crazy.
and that's kind of my thing. Is like I get like I guess why some people would be like upset or whatever to some degree, like not the level of degree I feel like they've gotten, but I'm like you have so many other games with all these Pokemon in it.
Yep,
I'm like, can you not like enjoy one that like doesn't have to have like realistically you play with like eight fucking Pokemon throughout the entire game anyway half the fucking time. So
yep,
I'm like I don't fucking care. Like I'm sure there's like some new ones that I'll like and there might be some old ones where I'm like, oh, this one will be cool, and then you have them in your party for a while, and then you come across one that you want more, and you're like, all right, well,
exactly.
fuck you, Slowpoke, like I got him now, like so. But
Yeah,
dude, it got to the point though where fucking Game Freak they were planning some like launch party thing in Japan for the game, like to when it releases, and they canceled it.
wow.
They yeah, they didn't say why, but I'm assuming it has something to do with all the fucking backlash they've been getting this week for all the different shit.
That's a bummer, man. It's Pokemon. Enjoyed it. Fuck. Like, what do you want? Like, exactly. Like you said. Like, you have that available on so many other games. Like, you'll be fine. Yeah, Death Stranding came out yesterday.
Oh, dude, like, did you get it?
Hell no. Like, I love Kojima, and like I was not gonna pre-order that one. I was like, I need to see what the fuck you actually do in this game, because so far all I'm seeing is walking, and it turns out that's what the game is.
Yeah, I was like, did you find out like what it's about and everything?
Yeah, yeah. You're. Do you know?
Yeah, I watched a Jim Sterling and stuff. He has a YouTube channel and he does a little segment called Jim Impressions where he plays games and stuff and gives it. And he released the day or whatever it came out. He released his video for Death Stranding and I watched it and he kind of loosely explained what the plot was and stuff. And I was like, what?
Everything I hear is like the story and is fantastic, but like the game itself is just like you're literally just like balancing Norman Reedus while you're walking across plains, like for long periods of time, and just like building your backpack to carry certain amounts of weight, and that's like the majority of the game.
Yeah, like what's the story? Like from what you've heard, like what is the story?
Not much. I don't even know how to even begin to explain what the story is. I just know that it involves like tethered realms of like ghosts to reality, and like the world's gone to shit, and like most things are like gone, but it's in the future, but like ghost spirits are still hanging around, and like you have to have like a baby like hooked up to like a machine on your body in order to be able to go between the tethered worlds or something, and then like you make like grenades and stuff with your literal like shit and piss and blood and stuff in the game. Like it's just very fucking peculiar stuff.
Yeah, from what I've heard, the general premise to me is that a event happened called the Death Stranding, where it like this weird rain, it like rained on the world, and the rain causes things to rapidly age, so when it rained, it like fucking destroyed Earth and like caused like the Earth to like rapidly age at like an accelerated rate to where like everything's like kind of decayed and like fucked up now. And like a bunch of people died and like all this shit happened. And like Norman Reedus is like one of many like basically like a glorified delivery boy
Yep.
and him and others have to deliver packages like across states and like other shit to like help reunite the world together or some shit like that. And he has the baby. I don't know what the point, like what the baby exactly is, or like what the general point of him is, besides the fact that the baby can detect the ghosts, and so like the baby will get fussy and it'll cause your contraption thing to fucking freak out, and the baby can see where the ghosts are and shit, even though you can't. And it's like when you're around the ghosts, you have to like tiptoe, and like there's like you literally have to, I guess, like hold your breath and shit in the game, like around the ghosts so they don't detect you, and that there's other delivery people out in the world, and like some of them are fucking crazy, and that like they will try to steal your cargo and shit and deliver it for you, and like they have traps and shit set up in the world that like if you trigger them it'll cause like a dozen of these fuckers to like try to like chase you down to like take your fucking package to like deliver it and shit, so you have to like outrun them and stuff if you like trigger it, and there's like stamina bars, and like yeah, like you said, you're trying to balance yourself, and there's a like there's vehicles and stuff for you to ride, and you can build roads and shit to like make it faster, but then it's like you try to ride your motorcycle like not on a road, you're like crashing in the rocks and shit like that. And
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll definitely try it at some point in life, but I'm not shilling out $60 for it.
that's my feeling on it is like I will totally pick this up next Black Friday.
Yep.
Like when it like $35. Like, I will get it.
For real. Yeah. And I'm assuming the audience reaction from like non Kojima fans are gonna be pretty putrid. So I feel like the game will probably drop in value fairly quickly.
Dude, I was like, speaking of Black Friday, I was like, the holiday season is upon us. Dude, which is fucking funny though, because so in our laundry room and in our garage, we have these fucking Christmas wreaths up, and they've been up since fucking last year. And like it was like February or something of this year, and like Megan was like, "Are we ever gonna fucking?" We wanted to get like wreath boxes to like put them in and shit to store them, and fucking Megan was like, "Dude, are we ever gonna like hang these up or whatever?" And I was like, "Well, I was like, if we just leave them up long enough, it'll be Christmas again soon anyway." And sure enough, it's like November now, and I'm like, "Hey, look, all our decorating's done." Like, we just left them
Yeah,
up.
it was a really fucking fast year, man. I hate it, but it's also interesting.
Yeah, I was like, but I'm like, Black Friday. Is there anything you're looking to get on Black Friday? Have you been looking at any of the ads or deals or anything that's been going on?
I haven't. I should look into that. I'm really behind on a lot of things. I sincerely doubt I'll be able to get like Luigi's Mansion or any Nintendo thing on there, but I don't know. I have some buddies that want to play Borderlands 3, so I might pick that up. That's on the to-do list. Uh, I'm sure there are others. I just can't think of it. It's like these days, it's just like I get so little time to play games that I just try to psych myself out to. It's like, don't buy that game, man. You're not gonna get to play it anyway. What's the point? You're just gonna torture yourself. So like I try not to pick up as many games these days as I do, but like I've got like the Xbox Game Pass and I've got an ungodly library of shit on my Switch that I need to get caught up on.
Yeah, it's like I think I on my shelf I still have games from last Black Friday that I have yet to even like open or play.
Yeah, dude, I got a crap load of Lego sets I need to put together from last Christmas.
You lucky fuck. Legos, I fucking love Legos, and it like upsets me to no end because Legos are like one of the few things where I find it so hard to myself to justify buying them because I'm like, dude, I'm like, I want to buy this, but it's like fucking $40, and I'm gonna put it together, and then it's just gonna sit there and collect dust. But it's so much fun putting it together, and I'm like, but I could be putting that $40 towards something that's like actually useful.
Well, my thing is like I was for a while there. I was like filming. I was doing like time lapse videos whenever I'd put together like a Lego set, and like people love the fuck out of them, and like they ask me for them all the time. So I have all these sets, but it's like I don't want to put them together unless I film it. But like it's a huge fucking hassle making those videos, and like I need all. It takes me like double the amount of time it would normally take me to put together a Lego set. So like I really have to have time set aside and like space in my house set out so I can set up the lights and the table and stuff, and it kills my fucking back. Like making like a video like that where it's like you could just see my hands in the video. So then like
Yeah,
I'm doing that shit for like an hour or two or whatever, and then like my back is just like dead for 2 days, and it's like ah. So it's just like really hard. I've got some really baller sets in the room just unopened, just because I haven't. I just like trying to psych myself up for trying to have enough time. Damn, today would have been a great fucking time to do it.
yeah, too busy watching fucking Better Call Saul. You could be putting together Legos.
Yeah, I got time after this. Maybe I've been putting together like this one's not for a video. I've just been putting it together like slowly. Like the wife got me like one of those like I want to say it's Mega Block sets. No, not Mega Blocks. That's like the giant like kids ones. There's like I can't remember. There's like a company that makes like similar to Lego, but it's like Pokemon stuff, and they do like
Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. And she got me this one that's like life size like Pikachu. It's like it looks like the size of a Pikachu, and it's like you can move its positioning and its poses and stuff. But it's just like a lot of fucking pieces, and all the pieces are bright yellow. They're not put together because it's a lot cheaper than Lego. Like they don't take the
Package
time.
like sections that you need.
Yeah, well, they package the sections, but the shitty thing is like they don't differentiate the internal pieces, so it's easier to put together the body and then just cover it up with the rest of them. So instead, like every fucking piece is bright yellow. So it takes me forever because they're all the same color and they're massive quantities of bags, and like just finding the right ones is a real bitch in that set. And the other one, the actual Lego set that I need to put together, is the Steamboat Willie like 90th anniversary set. So it's like the boat and it's got like Mickey and Minnie, but it's all black and white. It's like, oh my god. But a lot of the internal pieces are colored, so it's easier for you to put the whole boat together first and then cover it on the outside. But I'll do a video for that because that one will be cool.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm like Black Friday wise for me and stuff. I've been looking at, like you mentioned, Borderlands 3 is gonna be like $35 or something. So I really want to pick that up. Resident Evil 2 is gonna be 15, and I
Hell yeah,
haven't.
it's a great game. I love it.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that yet, so I want to pick that up. And then Mario Tennis Aces is actually going to be 30.
That's dope. I'm always a
Yeah,
bitch and buy Nintendo games the day they come out, so of course. But I can play with you. Hell yeah.
yeah. I was like, because yeah, they have I think it's Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, and Tennis Aces are all $30.
That's a
Which
sweet
I was
deal.
like,
Of course, I already have them all, but yeah, that's awesome.
yeah, yeah, I don't have Tennis Aces, and I'm like, well, fuck, like for $30, like that's as low as it's ever gonna get. So I'm like, might
Yep.
as well snag it while I can. And the Coupe de Gras, which I'm still on the fence about it. I genuinely don't know if I'm going to get it yet, but I'm like leaning heavily towards it. So they have a deal on the PlayStation VR.
That's what's up, man. Yes,
And
join the community. It's fucking
it's
awesome.
it's $200, which is a good price, and it comes with 5 games.
Fuck yeah.
And it comes with the PlayStation camera too, which you fucking need. So it's nice because like I know they've sold sets before where it's like camera not included, and it's like you can't fucking even use the thing.
Or
So
they have sets without the move controllers, which you need for a lot of them too.
that's what I was reading is like because this set it doesn't come with the move controllers, but um like the games work without them. It's just like some of them are compatible with it, but like the 5 games it includes are Resident Evil 7,
Right.
which I'm like, all right. I'm like, Astrobot, which I've heard nothing but good things about. Skyrim, which
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. Like, I'm like, I'll fucking buy Skyrim for the fucking fourth time. Like, some golf VR one, like, and then it's called like PlayStation Worlds or something like
Oh
that. It's
yeah,
like,
it's like a bunch of mini games and stuff. That's cool, man. Damn, dude. Now
yeah,
I'm gonna
I
jump on my VR after this instead of getting something done because it's been a long time since I've touched the VR.
Yeah, and I was like, even though the PlayStation one and like the golf one kind of sound like throwaways, I'm like Astrobot, Resident Evil, and Skyrim. I was like, if I was to get a VR headset, those are like 3 that I would buy no matter what anyway. So I'm like, well, and for 200, I'm like, dude, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would highly recommend, of course, getting the move controllers so you could play like Super Hot and Beat Saber and all that shit. But
Do you have to have a move controller for Super Hot? Is it required?
yeah,
Or can you use a normal PlayStation 4 controller?
you need to have the move controllers because you need to be able to aim the guns. Like the guns are your move controllers, and like your
Mm,
body's moving with everything.
well, because I think like when I was looking up, like I don't think Astrobot just uses a PS4 controller.
Right, and I
Uh,
believe Resident Evil 2 is only a controller.
or Resident Evil 7, yeah, it's just the controller. I know Skyrim, and then the other two, the golf and the other one, I think use move controllers. But I think for Skyrim, you could also just use a normal controller. But I know I was looking up on Amazon and shit, and I know they had Move controllers where it was like a 2 pack for like $90 or something, which
Right?
isn't
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah, and you're getting all those games too, so it's still like a worthy investment. Mine came with Skyrim, and I've never to this day tried it just because it's like I'm not going down that rabbit hole. I'm not gonna get myself into Skyrim in VR. Like it's too much.
I don't know. I was like, yeah, I was like, I know I still need to finish playing Skyrim on my Switch. Like I was playing it for a while, and then actual new shit came out, so I quit playing it.
Story of my life.
I know I haven't even turned my Switch on in a fucking fat minute. I haven't gotten Luigi's Mansion. I do want to get Pokemon, like, but I was still playing Link's Awakening. Like I still haven't beaten that.
Oh, dude, I completely forgot about that. I still need to get that too.
Yeah, Link's Awakening's been really good, and it's not even like super long either. I'm like I think almost done. I think I only have like 2 dungeons left or something before the end of the
Since I
game.
didn't get
But
Link's Awakening, I was playing A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo like app on the Switch.
of course you were.
Yeah. Well, it was one that I never actually played because I never owned a Super Nintendo, and so like I was actually putting some time into that thing. I'm like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I was like that's fair then. Like because I know there was a lot of people that didn't play Link's Awakening either and stuff when it was out
That
on.
I did have. That I had on the Game Boy Color when it first came out, like the DX.
Yeah, it's like man, I was like, what else? I was like, yeah, I don't even think. I think because Megan wanted like a Switch and stuff, especially for like Animal Crossing, and like I was asking her if that's like what she wanted because her birthday is on Black Friday and stuff, and I was like, dude, I was like, do you still want like a Switch and stuff like that, like for your birthday? And she kind of said that she didn't because because we had the 3DS and stuff, and it's like I mainly used it, but she would use it sometimes and stuff, and then I got her own 3DS, and it's like she used it some, but then like not a lot. So she was kind of like, I don't even know if I still want my own Switch because it's like I'd get it and maybe use it for a little while, and then like it'd end up like the 3DS, and I'd never use it again. And so I don't even know what I'm gonna get her for her birthday, but we decided that for Christmas for each other or whatever, we were gonna like suck it up and like here in like the next like month or so, I'm gonna finish like paying off my like one credit card, and then once it's like completely clean, we're gonna buy our tickets to fucking Japan, and that's gonna be our Christmas gift.
Hell yeah, man, that's awesome.
Japan tickets,
It's gonna be great.
right? I was like, I'm trying to think what else has been going on. I was like, you go see Doctor Sleep. I was like, fucking, we've we've had our god damn it, what's it called? We've had our fucking Instapot, like, and never used it. Like, still to this day, we've had that Instapot for like I'd say almost a year, and still have never used
We
it.
got one of those as well. Like I want to say last Christmas, we used it like 2 or 3 times. We ruined what we were making like at least one of the times. It's some confusing shit, man, but it's an interesting tool. And just generally speaking, we'll end up still just using an old school crock pot.
Yeah, that's like like we have this fucking Instapot, and it's like we still use the crock pot when we need to, and we have a fucking like rice maker, and it's like we just use that instead. And I'm like, so I like got sick of looking at it and just like put it under the counter and shit on the island because I'm like, this thing's just fucking collecting dust and taking up like space on the fucking counter for no reason because we never use it.
Yep. Yeah, we put ours away.
Fuck. I was like, man,
Got nothing.
I was like trying to think. I was like, we went to Portland. I mean, I like stuffed my fucking face full of shit.
Hell yeah, this is I'm gonna be in Washington in like 2 weeks. We're planning on taking a day trip over to Portland.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's the idea at least. Hopefully, because like we'll be staying at my mother-in-law's house. They have a house up there in Washington, but this is our first time going like without like any of her family being there. And it's fairly close to the border of Oregon. And we drove out to Portland last time, but we were with her mom, and she like made us go back like super early. We didn't have much time there, so we're gonna try and go spend like a full day there.
Yeah, this last time when we went, we didn't go to Seattle, which normally, because normally we go to Portland and then Seattle, or we go to Seattle and then we'll go to Portland and then go back or whatever. But we just spent the full week in Portland. I was like, dude, while we were at Portland though, I wish I got to finish it, but I read the Batman Who Laughs.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I got most of the way through the book, but I didn't want to spend $30 buying it. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna need to like finish it at some point. But that shit was really good.
yeah. That's a classic.
Yeah, like that. And then like I like the fact that it was like him, and then I forget what the other Batman was called. Like, but it was the one where Bruce, when his parents were murdered, Joe Cool or whatever the fuck his name was, like
Joe Chill.
drop Joe Chill, Joe Cool, fucking like Snoopy. Uh, he drops the gun or whatever, and Bruce picks it up and kills him or whatever. So then it's like a Batman that like uses guns, and he has like a bunch of crazy
Yeah.
like insane guns and shit.
Did you ever read Batman Earth One?
No, I did because that's the thing. I didn't read the Batman Metal shit, and
I
it's
never
like
got
I
around to
didn't
that
read
either.
Earth One.
Earth One's pretty old. I can't remember who wrote that one, but it was like a Elseworlds type deal. It was really cool, and I'm pretty sure they did a sequel run too, which I never got around to reading. But it's really good. It takes place kind of like around Christmas, and like Alfred's like a badass who like uses guns and shit. It's pretty wild though, but I liked it.
Dude, that stuff. That kind of reminds me of the Batman one where like when like it jumps into the future where like Damien's Batman and he has the cat named Alfred and he uses like the like he has like all those rats that he has like rigged up with like bombs and shit and like
I have not read that one. I need
oh
to.
man
That sounds
yeah no
awesome.
dude, yeah that shit's dope. I don't remember. I think it was Batman because I know they ended up doing like a spin-off thing where it was like its own mini series and shit too. But I think it initially happened during like I think it was like issue like 666 of Batman or something like that of like the main series and stuff. But like yeah, they did like a jump forward and like Damien's like Batman and he has like this like crazy suit and like he just fucking like beats the shit out of people and like will use like rats with like bombs on to like blow like walls and like shit up like underground and stuff and
Sounds exciting, man. I gotta check that out. Well, hopefully, next time I join the pod, I'll have some news on some upcoming projects.
I
Uh,
know I was like every time you come on you like low key mention your new podcast.
well, it's like in my brain. Don't you worry. I have like 2 weeks left of this video project, and then I'm gonna start going full steam ahead on that because I've been jazzed about it for quite some time.
Dude, that's what's up. I know. I'm like excited to see Doctor. I'm trying to remember. Oh shit, that's right. I saw a fucking trailer for The Invisible Man.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but yeah, I read up on it. That should be
Like
good.
it looks really cool. I'm like, dude, I'm like giving the Universal monster movie rights to Blumhouse was like one of the smartest things I think they could have done
Oh,
after
absolutely.
after the Mummy fucking tanked.
Yeah, sometimes I want to go back and see just how bad that movie was.
I don't. I'm like, oh, like, that movie sucked. Like, I was like, I would rather watch like the fucking Brendan Fraser like fourth or fifth Mummy movie like than watch that shit.
Absolutely, I don't think anybody would.
I was like, oh, what?
I think we did
But yeah,
it.
yeah, I was like, that's probably gonna wrap up the podcast. I was like, I'm fucking starving, so we're probably gonna eat
I know
something
you could
before we
probably
go
hear
see.
my stomach on this microphone right now.
I can hear your fucking cats.
Yeah, that too. And these motherfucking motorcycles keep coming by, but like I could hear it in my headphones, but then like when I check back the audio, like the directional usually doesn't pick it up, but I can definitely hear it in my headphones. But then when I play it back, it doesn't get it, so it like always freaks me out. But yeah, the cats are definitely being difficult today.
Little shitbirds. Dude, fucking the other night, I what was it? I rolled over in bed and Oswald fucking puked in the bed and my
Oh,
leg rolled into it and it was like regurgitated cat food.
oh, that's vile, dude. Ugh.
Yeah, and it was one of those where it was kind of like I was so fucking tired where it's like I contemplated like just kind of rolling over and going back to bed and just leaving it. Like, but I was like, I'm no Melissa Sabo, so I won't do that.
Yeah, just wipe it off your face with a paper towel and get back to
Yeah,
work.
cat liquid shit in her face, and she wiped it off and just went back to bed.
No
And,
soap
and
or water was involved.
yeah, and Tanner was mortified by it, and she was like, "What? Sorry, I'm not a germaphobe like you, Tanner."
Let's get that fecal matter just into them pores.
Yeah, I was like, this cat, like, 2 girls, 1 cup, like, on her fucking face, and she just went back to bed, like, afterwards.
Oh, shit.
But it's like, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Dude, speaking of which, at work the other day, too, I was, like, going back into it, fucking told someone the story about, my favorite story ever from Caitlin about that girl that blew that dog.
Oh, dude. That's. Why are you telling people that shit?
Because it's fucking like so out. It's like something that's like one of those things where it's like you would swear to God it was made up. How fucking like ridiculous it sounds, but then like this happened. Like this is real life happening before you.
God damn
Where
it.
Caitlin was in middle school and I guess went over to some girl's house to work on a project, and she was like the popular girl or whatever, like at school, and I guess they were like in her room, like working on it, like sitting on her bed or whatever, and then I guess like their family dog or something like came up, like a smaller dog, and I guess she just started like picked up the dog and started like sucking this dog off, and then she looked over to Caitlin and asked her if she wanted some. And Caitlin was like, "No, I don't." And then later in life, ran into this person again at some apartment complex they were looking at. She worked at like the like desk area at this complex.
Dude, I'm cringing over here.
Yeah, the people I told that to at work were kind of mortified by that. They were like,
you get a call from HR. We're like, so we hear you've been telling some people some things.
I hope not. I have to explain that. But yeah, that's on that note. I was like, that's gonna. Yeah, I was like, we're starting this podcast the same way we're ending it with traumatizing stories from days past.
And Continental.
Yeah. But on that note, I was like, thank you all for listening. I was like, thank you, Tanner, for coming back on. I always love having you on. I was like, I'm sure I'll have you on again in weeks to come, and then we can talk about Dr. Sleep, and I'm sure, hopefully, we'll go see Terminator, not Salvation, but Dark Fates.
Yeah.
We'll get to talk about that. And yeah, so thanks for listening, and don't blow your dogs. It's not cool. It's not consensual.